Before we begin, make sure to hit subscribe. Join us here at Whispered Truths, where the quietest stories carry the loudest lessons. Kai was a man who dreamed in colors no one else could see. His mind danced with ideas, ideas that could change lives, ideas that shimmered brighter than the morning sun. He saw the world not just as it was, but as it could be, transformed by his creations. He envisioned breathtaking art, inventions that would simplify everyday struggles, and stories that could mend broken hearts. His potential was a vast, unexplored galaxy, with stars of brilliance just waiting to be named. Yet, in the face of all this possibility, Kai hesitated. Every time a new idea bloomed in his mind, a voice would whisper, "Not yet, not now. I need the right moment." He told himself this was prudence, a wise delay until all the stars aligned. He needed more resources, more time, a clearer plan. He needed the perfect, unmistakable sign from the universe that it was time to begin. Days turned into weeks. The seasons changed their colors outside his window, from the vibrant green of spring to the golden hues of autumn. And still, Kai waited. Weeks melted into months, and months stretched into years. The vibrant ideas that once burned so brightly in his mind began to fade, their sharp edges softened by the dust of inaction. They became like old photographs, memories of a passion that once was. Seasons slipped by like sand through his fingers, each grain a lost opportunity, and still Kai waited. He waited for inspiration to strike with a trumpet blast, a dramatic, undeniable calling that would leave no room for doubt. He waited for the world to hand him a sign, a clear and easy path laid out just for him. He waited for perfection, believing that he had to have every single detail flawless before he could even take the first step. And every day he waited, fear wrapped itself a little tighter around him. It was a subtle, insidious companion, whispering doubts into the quiet moments of his day. "What if you fail?" it would hiss. "What if it's not good enough? What if they laugh at you? What if all this effort is for nothing? What if—" The questions were a relentless storm, eroding his confidence, chipping away at his resolve. Kai didn't see it then, but his waiting wasn't patience. It was fear. It was fear dressed up in the respectable clothes of caution. It was fear hiding behind the noble mask of good intentions. It was fear pretending to be a wise guardian, protecting him from failure, while it was actually stealing his life away, moment by moment, dream by dream. His caution was a cage he was building around himself, bar by golden bar. One evening, Kai sat at his desk, the silence of his room amplifying the emptiness he felt inside. He stared at the blank page where his novel should have been, at the unfinished painting collecting dust in the corner, at the empty canvas that represented all his deferred dreams. The sun was setting, painting the sky outside with fiery streaks of orange, pink, and purple. It was a masterpiece of fleeting beauty, a daily spectacle that asked for no permission to exist. And in that profound quiet, as the colors of the sky deepened and then faded to dusk, he heard something he hadn't noticed in years, the sound of time itself. It wasn't a loud tick-tock, but a silent, relentless current, pulling everything forward. It was passing carelessly, indifferent to his plans, his fears, his waiting. Time didn't care if he was ready. It just moved on. In that moment, a powerful realization struck him with the force of a tidal wave. Life doesn't pause for anyone. The perfect time he was waiting for was a myth. The perfect moment is a comforting story we tell ourselves to avoid the terrifying, messy, and beautiful act of starting. It's an excuse to stay in the familiar comfort of the harbor, never knowing the thrill of the open sea. Kai's heart thumped in his chest, a frantic rhythm against his ribs. A strange and potent mix of fear and exhilaration filled him. The fear was still there, a cold knot in his stomach, but for the first time it was accompanied by something stronger, a defiant spark of hope, a desperate urge to act. And for the first time, He didn't ask for permission. Not from the world, not from his circumstances, and not even from the chorus of doubts in his own head. He simply began. He picked up a pencil. His hand trembled as he drew the first line on the blank page. It was shaky. It was uncertain. The first paragraph he wrote was clumsy, the words not quite capturing the symphony in his head. His first attempt at painting was messy, the colors bleeding where they shouldn't. But it was real. It was tangible. It was a start. It was an act of rebellion against the tyranny of what if. Each small action, no matter how imperfect, began to build its own momentum. The first clumsy line led to a sentence, the first messy brushstroke to a patch of color. Each mistake, instead of being a source of shame, became a lesson. He learned what didn't work, and that knowledge was just as valuable as knowing what did. And with every passing day, with every small step forward, Kai's courage grew. The voice of fear didn't disappear entirely, but its whispers grew fainter, drowned out by the satisfying sound of his own creation. He learned that progress is born in imperfection, that masterpieces are not created in a single, flawless stroke, but are built upon a foundation of countless flawed attempts. He learned that starting, even imperfectly, is infinitely more powerful than waiting perfectly for a moment that will never arrive. He learned that fear only wins when you let it guard the gates of your potential. Once you push past that gate, you realize the guard was just a shadow. By the end of his journey, Kai wasn't just a man who finally started. He was a man transformed. He was an artist, a writer, an inventor. But more than that, he was a man who had learned the quiet, profound truth of life. The only moment you are ever guaranteed is now. The future is a promise. The past is a memory. But now is a gift. If you've felt the weight of waiting, the cold grip of hesitation holding you back from your own dreams, remember Kai. Remember that fear often wears the mask of patience, and the only way forward is to move. Take that first, messy, imperfect step. The journey of 1,000 miles begins not with a perfect plan, but with a single, courageous decision to start now. If this story spoke to you, don't forget to subscribe to Whispered Truths for more stories that whisper the truths you need to hear. Thanks for listening.